Jennifer.
That cruiser has us in weapons range. We make a run for it?
We run all right at it.
Ah, pattern suicide. The captain has found it in his heart to aid us once again.
Yes, that's right. We are back. Live Long and Podcast coming at you. I'm your host, Jeff Mader. Joined as always by my brother, Dave Mader, for another edition of Deep Space Nine at 9-ish. We are covering Season 4, Episode 20, 420, Shattered Mirror. Yes, you best get high for this one, Dave.
It also came out on April 22nd. Not quite 420, but it was close to that.
Yes, not the first time they've dealt with the mirror universe, but yet another chapter, another notch in the belt, if you will, Dave, for the Deep Space Nine mirror universe. Not my favorite episode, but not a bad episode, I would say. It's a half decent rewatch. It's just not. I kind of starting to see Davin's point of things. He's not here yet. Cousin Davin Skellhorn from the Cooters of Trek. But he's not fond of the mirror universe, and I do kind of see his point sometimes, like with the even with the Deep Space Nine episodes, who I do think did the mirror universe the best. Sometimes it's just, I don't know, like I find it hard to connect to the character's connection to the mirror universe. I don't really feel like they care. Like, do you feel kind of the same way here, Dave? Like, does Sisko really care about the fate of Smiley and the Dick Bashir who punches him in the face in this episode?
Yeah, it's kind of a strange thing because I think he does, but only as I don't know. He tries to distance himself from it quite a bit. This episode is also sort of about Jennifer Sisko, the mirror version, and her effect on Jake and on Ben Sisko as well, and just sort of like the memory of their version of Jennifer and sort of maybe having a mourning for her. But they did a mirror episode in every season of Deep Space Nine. And so, like, I don't think this is the worst one. I think that the one with the Ferengi is actually the worst one in season 7. But I think that this has got some good stuff in it that I liked. You know, now that Worf is on the show, Michael Dorn, they were able to give him we were able to see his mirror version. I think his pairing with Garrick was really interesting. And I don't know, like it works and it doesn't, because it's like we're supposed to care, but we're not. Like how we're supposed to identify with this universe. We're supposed to care about the Terrans because they're like the humans, like they're our equivalent in this universe. But I don't know. Like it's also not. I guess what I really take away from this episode more than anything that I really like is it's Worf, the mirror Worf, and it's the whole fight sequence with the Defiant against the Ningfar and with the station, because I seen the Defiant like weave around that ship like it does in this episode, I think was really cool for the time to see something like that in space battles, even though we had the Way of the Warrior to start off this season. Just to see the Defiant really kind of in action like this, like we'll see later on in times of the Dominion War and what they wanted to do, because up until like this point in Star Trek, like what they could do on Next Generation and an original series and even some early DS9 was really limited. Like you had models that kind of just stood still and they would kind of fire at each other. Maybe you might see it. Usually it's off camera. And so to kind of see that more in the actual show was really exciting for the time for a TV show.
Yeah. I can
take it for granted now, but
I concur with you that the best part of the episode is like kind of the when Sisko decides to commandeer the Mirror Defiant and kind of pilot it and do all the duck and weaving against the Mirror Worf, the Regents. His whole he got a Nigvar class ship,
Ningfar cruiser, or battleship.
Yeah, that's kind of like the coolest part of the episode for me. But I also kind of enjoy the whole Intendant and Nog stuff. I really enjoyed Nog in this episode because like he's annoying, but like he's supposed to be annoying, and he's supposed to be like, all the Ferengi are awful. Like, and like because Nog's kind of good in like the regular universe, he's evil in this one, whereas like Quark is like the opposite. And
Quark and Rom were the opposite here. Well, Rom was kind of like the same guy in both universes.
Mm.
more or less.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. But like the Nog is like he's full kind of he's kind of like playing Quark in a lot of ways. Like he's but if Quark was the full opportunist, Quark I don't think would do some of the things that Nog does in this episode. But at the same time, you wouldn't be surprised if he did. Like he is an opportunist and he's always looking for profit and what best sets him up.
Nog, even this mirror Nog, he doesn't kill that Terran guard that he knocks out to release the intended. He just hits him with a tray of food, and then
knocks him out.
He gets shot for helping her out. Ultimately, as they continue this tradition of murdering one of the Ferengis every season, they're or something like that, right? Because Quark dies in the first episode, and then Rom died in the season 3 episode. Maybe there wasn't a season 2 Mirror Universe episode. Maybe I don't know how many this is the 3rd or 4th that they've had so far. But like it's that they ran out of all the Ferengi characters to kill. Maybe Zach, but
Zach, yeah.
Or Brunt.
I don't think I think you're right. I don't think there is one in
I think there is a Mirror Brunt that comes along at some point and they kill him just so that they kill the Ferengi every year.
Yeah, they kind of make it a recurring thing here in the Mirror Universe. But I also feel like the Mirror Universe always seems to center around Sisko, and I kind of wish it didn't. I kind of wish we had even in this episode, like both Kira and O'Brien are supposed to come with him to the Mirror Universe, and then Smiley makes sure that it's only Sisko, and I kind of like I get why they do it, but because they don't want 2 Kiras in the same scene or 2 O'Briens in the same scene, and it just complicates things. But I don't know. I kind of sometimes wish some of the other characters experience the Mirror Universe more. I think we got that in the one episode where I think it's Bashir and is it Dax that kind of have to figure out that what the Mirror Universe where they were. I think
it was Kira. It was Kira because it really started off. I think that the first time we had the Mirror Universe, which was crossover, and that was where Kira she's at odds with her counterpart. And for the most part, they don't do much of that after this, right? The next time they did it. So this must be the 3rd time. Oh, here's Jaemeel.
Oh,
hello.
Sorry, I'm at the game. You guys have a good show.
Okay.
But
is it the Raptors?
No, it's.
Hey.
He's at the box.
All right. You guys have a good pod.
Yeah.
Shattered Mirror.
Okay.
Shattered Mirror.
Yeah. He's here. That was a cameo.
Cameo Jaemeel enjoying the Raptor game. I think they're playing Golden State.
Well, hey, they might not win that one, but we'll see. Golden State's a good team, but yeah, I think there was some interesting themes in that first episode, that first Mirror Universe. The second time, where if I'm remembering it right, where Sisko has to pretend to be his counterpart and deal with all these people, right? This is the first time that he's kind of just I'm Captain Sisko, and I'm dealing sort of with it's kind of a sequel to that where everyone's slapping him and punching him in the face for tricking them last time.
Yep.
And so there's a couple things logic wise I'm struggling with in this episode, because I'm okay, well, doesn't their version of the station orbit Bajor? It's not by the wormhole in the Mirror Universe, right? It actually Terek Nor orbits Bajor, the planet, which is a member of the Alliance, right?
I believe so. Yes.
So how are they holding this station in orbit around a planet that's not with them? The Bajorans are not with the rebels, right?
No. I don't think I think they do a disservice not explaining it visually enough. Yes, they have the cool battle in this episode, but I think you're right, Dave. They don't do enough to really establish where is the station, why, what's going on. It's more in this episode, it's more about Jake and his mom and the intendant's a prisoner, and they have to hold on from this Alliance invasion or attack upon the station. But when they show the station, as far as the average viewer, I would think they would think it's by the wormhole. I don't think they know that, you're saying, that it's orbiting.
Yeah, maybe not. And so they kind of don't even really show, but the station's not at the worm, as far as I know, because I think we see it later. It's always orbiting the planet. And I'm like, well, why don't I don't know? They moved the like even if you're the Terran rebels, wouldn't you want to move it by the wormhole? Because the wormhole does exist here.
Yeah, you would think
Because
so.
that's how Bashir and Kira got here the first time. And so they moved it in the pilot emissary of this show, they made it seem easy back then, right? I guess it wasn't easy, but they did it. Like Kira and Kira, the real Kieran O'Brien, they did it in the pilot. It seems like that it would not be in the Terrans' best interest to have this station still around the planet. But like there's just a lot, like you're like, what's going on here? What is the situation in this mirror universe? And we only get to kind of get glimpses into what's going on. Comment here from Jeremy saying he always thought it was weird that the mirror universe Terrans were bad, or they're at least not virtuous in some ways. But the Klingons and Cardassians are basically the same people, or like they're kind of like in terms of their empires and how they operate. They seem to be more or less the same, right?
Yeah, they like I kind of see what he's saying. Like they probably should be good guys, like they should be more at least the Cardassians should be more virtuous. Maybe the Klingons would be more bad guys. I could see that because like in our universe, the Klingons are more good guys and the Cardassians are more the heels. If they swapped those, that kind of would have made sense, but they don't do that.
Right. And then the history that was given to us in crossover was like when the Terran Empire kind of stopped being mean, and because of what Spock does from the original Mirror back in the original series, is that like the Klingons and Cardassians had been sort of, they had been kind of thrown around by the Terrans for a long time, and they're like, this is our chance. And they united, and then they got Bajor involved, and then they conquered Earth, and they took out the Terrans, turned them into slaves. And that's kind of where this picks up in like season 1. And so by this point, yeah, like all of the Terrans are kind of around Bajor, Cardassia, or at least a good portion of them are. They're kind of like the Maquis. They seem to be like the equivalent to the Maquis in some ways in the to the Prime universe, but not, because they use the Maquis Raiders and now they have the Defiant and different things. But even being up by the Badlands seems like it would be more advantageous for the rebels. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe it doesn't matter. Like maybe that's not what the whole story is about. But because we'll come back to this continuously. It's an arc. It's like, how can we not sit here and analyze it? Like Jeremy's kind of pointing out.
Yeah, he also asked a question here. Does that mean the Dominion Empire is a benevolent democracy? Yeah, is it paradise over there in the Gamma Quadrant with the Jem'Hadar, putting flowers and guns, and are the, I think they missed a beat here with the Mirror Universe a little bit. I think they could have had a little bit more fun. I feel like it's a little too drab sometimes, and I get why, because like that's what the original series did. But I think sometimes they could have had a little bit more fun with it, even if it was dark, or even if like I think they could have really like just done opposites and turned things on its head a little bit better.
Or you make even if you take like Klingons and Cardassians, for instance, like maybe they're not good, maybe they're even more evil than they are in like what we consider the Prime universe. Like make like things that like where the Klingons might have more honor in like the Prime universe, they wouldn't have it here, right? And the Cardassians, if they might be willing to like negotiate or sue for peace sooner, maybe take that away from them. The more like redeeming qualities of their species, empires, whatever you want to call it, right? Mm-hmm. But they don't quite do that. Like Garrick versus Prime Garrick is the only difference is he wears a uniform and he has a different job, but he's kind of the same guy.
Pretty much. He doesn't play him much different.
No.
Yeah, like he's got the same wit, the same opportunistic attitude toward things, kind of reading situations, reading people. He's kind of the same character in a lot of ways, which he's true to his personality, but he's not that different. Like if you could just compare like the two Ciscos or the two Kiras or the two
the two Kiras are very different.
Yeah,
right. And the O'Briens, they're not that different,
but there is a noticeable personality change.
Right. Like the two Bashirs are very different.
Yeah. I think the two Daxes are exactly the same. I don't see any difference between the two Daxes.
She was like, get my point. Yeah. The only thing is she's willing to point that dagger at his throat. That's kind of the difference with
Yeah,
her.
but like regular Dax would have done that.
Yeah, probably.
You know what I mean? Like I don't see a big difference in Dax.
That's for making love to me under false pretenses or whatever she says.
Right.
Yeah, she's like, you ever touch me again? And he was like, well, you didn't. You seemed pretty into it at the time. Which brings up all these other kind of things. But yeah, like it's okay. This episode's okay. Like I don't hate this episode, but it's also sort of like it feels like coming off of some of the previous episodes we had, like Hard Time. And what was before Hard Time? We had Rules of Engagement, which were so strong. And this is like, I feel like from the Mirror Universe, it's always meant to be a bit of fun, but it comes with some pretty like the more we get to know these characters, the more we're sort of like invested in them. You know, so when Jennifer Sisko dies here at the end, I guess it matters a bit. You know, we kind of knew her for 2 episodes, plus she's Jennifer.
I don't think it matters about this Jennifer. It's about the fact that Sisko had to watch his wife die again, and you know, like they wanted, but it doesn't land. Like I don't feel like it lands for the audience. I think the actors try to make it land, and they try to make you care.
Yeah,
but I don't. You know, I don't know about you, Dave, but like I'm like I kind of have one moment like, well, that kind of sucks. He has to watch her die again, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't care. You know, like even though she sacrificed herself and got shot, like everything just doesn't emotionally grab me.
They tried everything, yeah. Like,
Damn it! We just can't leave her here!
yeah, he's still grieving.
Now, is that I do feel like there's something lost in the fact that the actress that has to play Jennifer has to play the fact that it's this mirror universe Jennifer that doesn't really have the same morals. And then like when she does sacrifice herself, oh, she does have morals, but then like I don't know, just like nothing seems to like land for me. I think Jake is disillusioned that this is his mother, but it's really not, and the audience knows that. And it's like everything going on is just kind of like rubs you the wrong way in some ways, where you're just like, I don't feel emotionally invested in this episode.
Yeah, like what they did really well in the first episode was make us care about like Smiley, right, working in those mines and feeling like he could be more than what he was. And he's like, well, if the O'Brien in the other universe is some big important chief of operations, then why can't I be? And why can't we have something more than this? And so I think we need a bit more of that, like in these episodes where like if you want us to care about the Terrans, like you have to make us like them, right? And they kind of go out of their way to make us not like them.
They definitely do. They go out of their way to not make you like anybody in the Mirror Universe. They're all bad according to the writers and the way they write the characters. They're all like irredeemable. And then we see this one redeemable moment from the Mirror Jennifer, and we're supposed to be like, oh, okay, maybe they can be redeemed. But like Cisco literally just says like, let's get out of here, which is basically like, this is fucked up. Let's get the fuck out of here. Basically, let's go home. Like, let's get out of here. Like, this is not fun. And no, they never seem to really be invested in not only the Mirror Universe, but the people there, their plight. The only reason I think that even Sisko took over the ship and flew around and he says he wanted to have fun. He wanted to feel like he didn't just want to be a captain again. He wanted to kind of be like, you know, in the thrill of the fight, which, you know, is an adrenaline rush.
Is that what he says?
No, he doesn't say that, but he basically, like, you know, Smiley kind of goads him into it, where he's like, oh, it'd be really nice if we had somebody who could command the ship, or he says something like that.
I wish I could have, you know, tested her out before taking her into battle, because they just like finished construction on this ship as like the fleet's arriving.
Yeah, and like he's basically like, you know, he's poking Sisko to like come help them, right? And he's, you know, kind of knowing he will anyway if he knows the original Sisko as well as he did. And I think the original Sisko, the Mirror Sisko, was kind of like this high flying captain that was like a thrill seeker, right? That was kind of his. Yeah,
he was kind of like throw caution to the wind. He was kind of a rogue who pirate almost, that, you know, kind of turned rebel and kind of started fighting for something. But you know, Smiley told us in the last time we met up with them, he was like, well, he was hurting the cause as much as he was helping it, you know, because he was kind of not the best leader. you know, and so some ways his death actually helped us out because he was kind of not the best. Smiley is the only one who's considered to be a good guy, right?
Pretty much, like they do their best to like make you not like Bashir, make you not like even Dax. Like they really do their best to not make these characters redeemable. And I think the reason they do that is because they want you to like the original versions of them more. Yeah, they don't want you to be attached too much to these versions of the characters.
Yeah, I think so. But then, like with the attendant, like it's almost like the attendant's a more interesting version of Kira to me than Prime Kira. Prime Kira, whatever. Like, you know,
You're not a fan of Kira.
Not especially when she gets more religiously zealous. I guess that's when I'm down on Kira. You know, where the prophets come before everything. And you know, I think that the Accession episode 4 episodes ago in particular was the harder one for me on Kira. But I'm like, okay, Kira, like, you know, go back to your Dejara or whatever you think you're supposed to do. Whatever the Vedic tells you, that's what you have to do. The intended Kira is much more evil and much more like, but more interesting. It's a better performance out of Nana Visitor, I think.
Oh yeah, no, she has way more to do. I'm sure. I would imagine she would even tell you that she had a lot more fun playing that character than she probably did playing Kira. But at the same time, I do feel like the Mirror Universe version of Kira is Kira without her faith, without her grounding, without her morals. That's, you know, so if all that's out the window, then maybe Kira would be like this opportunistic, power hungry person. And so like I do think like everyone is kind of in the Mirror Universe kind of has something stripped away from them. Like Worf has his honor stripped away from him. He's just kind of like also power hungry. So, Bashir, you know, he's not a doctor, right? In the Mirror Universe, he's just a captain. He's just a guy, basically, right?
They're all captains, Jeff. I pulled that clip.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Captain Bashir, Captain O'Brien, Captain Sisko. We may not have enough troops or ships or weapons, but we have plenty of captains.
Yes, they're all captains. But he's not genetically enhanced, is he? This Mirror Bashir?
I don't know. Did they ever even like acknowledge that?
No.
And if he's not, then it kind of makes sense why he's not smart. I mean, he is kind of an idiot.
Right. He couldn't even tell a tree from a house or a dog from a cat, right? In the Prime universe before he had his genetic tampering. So this version of Bashir would presumably have the same afflictions.
Yeah, presumably. Yeah. Okay. All right. Can we talk a little bit about Jake Sisko in this episode? Because like, it's been a minute. It's been a minute since he's been on the show. Let alone like he was on last week with helping O'Brien figure out a phase conductor,
helping him go through the toolkit or whatever.
Yeah,
he was doing.
I think he was wearing the same shirt too, so they probably filmed it on this at like, you know, around the same time. But at the same time, I don't know. Like, I'm not a fan of him in this episode. I'm not a fan of his performance. I don't think any of it lands like for me. I don't think it's necessarily his fault. I just think it's the writing and like the way they kind of the way they write the Mirror Universe. Like they basically don't want you to care about any of these characters. And then in Jennifer's exception, they're like, no, care about her in this one moment. It's hard for the audience to do that, I think.
Well, I think the whole thing with Jennifer Sisko, she dies in the pilot, the original Jennifer Sisko, she dies in this pilot in the Borg attack at Wolf 359, you know, and then there's like this time jump 3 years later where, you know, Sisko's he's still trying to get his life back together after that. And now this is 4 years after that. So it's been like 7 years since she died. Right. And so like, and they barely talked about her really in like those seasons. Cassidy Yates is in the picture by now. Right. You know, so I'm like, well, okay, Jennifer Sisko mirror version is here, but like, isn't he dating Cassidy Yates? And like, are we supposed to care about this relationship or them becoming a thing or not becoming a thing? It's kind of, if I guess that, you know, it's just where they had left off in the story. So they felt like they needed to bring Jennifer Sisko back because that's kind of where that last episode had kind of left things. But and I think they were like, well, I think it's good on paper. It's a really good idea on paper, but I just don't think it lands in the way you're saying it, because I just think that she was cast to be like in a couple of scenes in Emissary, right? And then they brought her back in that next mirror universe, and she's fine in that, I think, because she mostly just has to hate Cisco in that episode. In this one, she has to do a lot. She has to be a very different kind of a character here. And yeah, I don't know. Like I just don't think the charisma is not there. I think ultimately.
Yeah, and I think partly that is because she has to play this mirror universe version of her. Where I think she thinks she has to be kind of muted and a bit more opportunistic and not very like. I don't know how they direct them in these episodes, but I do feel like they're told like not to have any joy or not have really any. If they do have joy, it has to be like evil joy. Like we see it from Worf, we see it from the Intendant. Like when they laugh, it's like an evil laugh. It's a maniacal laugh. Right. There's no like happiness.
No joy to any of it.
No joy in the mirror universe. It's all misery. And they're all kind of like there's no outlook. There's no view for a better time. It's just more shit is kind of I feel like the way they look at it, that's their outlook because it's all they've ever known. Which I get why like people like Davin will say like I'm not a fan of these episodes because like it's one beat in a lot of ways, and it is, but I think it's fun to see certain characters get to do something different, like a Worf, like Kira, where they have
Garrick, kind of.
Eric is kind of doing the same thing, but he gets to kind of like let the gloves off even more. Like he
he's lean even further into what it is.
Right. Did they ever do Ducat in the mirror universe?
Never.
See, I think that was a mistake. I think if they should have done.
Oh yeah, what would he have been more evil or less evil?
I think they could have went either way on it, but
it would suck to meet a copy of yourself and they had a better life or a worse life. I think it would just, and then Jeremy also pointed out, I suppose if you watch your doppelganger die or you have to kill them, that can mess with you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Did you like the shots where they're building the Defiant, like where they got the on the outside?
I was like, how did they just built a ship like outside of the docking port? Is that like not it's not built at a shipyard. It's like the fact that he's like, yeah, I just stole your computer files when I was over there last, and then we just built our own. That's like the story, and you're like, is that all it takes? You just have to copy like the details, and it was the engines are too powerful, so we need Cisco to help us like get the inertial dampeners going or whatever the plot is. But like it seems a bit implausible, most of it.
It's all a little confusing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, Jennifer. It's like, we took the station and we're in orbit of Bajor, but don't pay attention to that too much. And, and O'Brien, he just got over, going 20 years in the past, but he was going to go on this mission with Cisco.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing with continuity in Deep Space Nine. Is this before or after Hard Time?
It's after. It has to be.
Why does it have to be?
Because it comes after it in the
episode run.
Yes. Well, it would be very strange for it not to.
I mean, I agree, but I feel like sometimes, like, I don't feel like sometimes you watch I don't know. I don't know if you're supposed to watch a show like that. Like sometimes, like I feel like sometimes, the show is like it's so week to week, and they know the audience is like that it's like, oh, forget that last week, or that could have happened next week and you wouldn't even know it. Maybe this happened before that mission or something.
Right. Well, Voyager and Next Gen and original series are definitely in that vibe. They designed those shows to be like that. Deep Space Nine was trying to break from that and trying to be more serialized and trying to have more of a continuity, but they kind of were still doing this two-step here, trying to kind of do both of those things, right? Where don't worry so much about Hard Time last week or Rules of Engagement. No, that's all kind of in the past. Now it's about this. And maybe O'Brien's still struggling, but we're not going to get into that because we kind of just leave him there. He could have brought other people.
And maybe and Worf and his command issues with Rules of Engagement. Like that's never really like, yeah, those episodes are left at those episodes, and the
Right.
morals and the lessons that are learned are kind of just, they're kept there, and they're standalone pieces. It's more in season 4 more so than season 5 really runs episode to episode to episode. But season 4, I'm starting to, on this rewatch, realize how much it is more like a TNG season.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a reinvention of the show compared to like the first 3 seasons. Season 3 and 4 are kind of a little bit more similar in some ways, but season 4 is this transition year where they're like, well, we're kind of telling this ongoing story and we're kind of not, and it's kind of sometimes character focused and sometimes it's not. We had 22 episodes to play with, so like I don't think this was a terrible idea, but it was not necessarily as good as I remembered it. What I really remembered from it was, oh, wasn't that cool when the Defiant fought that big ship? And that's kind of still what I get from this. And also, I always just love seeing Sisko sort of be like an assertive battle commander in any episode. Like when he's like pattern Delta or whatever. Like I played at the top, pattern suicide.
That cruiser has us in weapons range. Should we make a run for it?
We run all right at it.
Ah, pattern suicide.
That's right. Yeah. And just like he's like, we're going to take him out. I'm Sisko, even though it's complete like violation of the Prime Directive, and he shouldn't be doing this at all.
No, he shouldn't be. But he's doing it because Sisko likes to break rules and have fun, like all the captains in Star Trek do, except Janeway. Janeway doesn't like having any fun.
She breaks rules like let's make an alliance with the Borg. That's her having fun.
Yeah, that's her.
Chakotay's like, no, we can't do this. It's the Borg.
Janeway's the psycho captain. She's like, let's do a completely reckless thing that makes
Hail Mary.
Yeah, Hail Mary reckless thing because they have no other option. I find Sisko, yeah, like here. What did you think about the joke here where Nog tries to set him up with this older woman or whatever, and Jennifer goes, "Isn't she a little old for you?" And it's like that long-standing joke that Jake likes older women, and then
he likes Dabo girls and Kira and whoever. Yeah, and I think the dialogue's funny or good enough. It's not a bad one, but I don't leave it feeling very excited either.
I just don't think it's overly. I think it's like they needed to do a mirror universe. We needed to write a part for Worf. We need to do this. We need to do that. And it's just like, I don't feel like they had a good idea for an episode here. It was just, I feel like it was, rushed.
I think it was like fun for them to like play around with like Michael Dorn and Andrew Robinson and see like, because they haven't had much any scenes right together up until this point. And so like when they pair them up in season 5 for like the In Purgatory Shadow and all of that stuff, like I think this was just good, like sort of them getting used to working with each other.
Yeah, it's all it feels like a testing episode. Yeah, to like where Kira can kind of have that dynamic with Sisko, and you're right, like Garrick and Worf, and you have Nog and Jake. Yeah,
Nog and Jake's the other one, I think. And I guess Bashir and O'Brien, how they hate each other in this universe.
Right.
But work together.
And Dax is just there.
Dax is like, Mirror Dax is so boring.
She really is. I mean, she's got nothing going on. I don't know. Again, I don't think that's her fault. I think
that's just the way they write her, which is basically they write her as just, I'm kind of a little bit more promiscuous in this version.
Yeah, but not even really. Like I feel like they vanilla her a lot. They just kind of, they don't really give her.
You give her a different haircut.
They don't give her a lot of meat to chew on that bone, whereas Kira gets all the meat. Like Nana Visitor really gets to chew on that scenery the whole episode, and her character is very eccentric, and I don't know, like I think it's a little unfair to Terry Farrell that Nana Visitor gets all the good stuff here in the Mirror Universe, whereas she's just like a support player in this stuff, which is it is what it is. But I really enjoy Kira, but at the same time, like I'm still cheering against her. Like there's this thing here where like I want to like her. I want to like her as a villain, but she always just rubs me the wrong way. I don't know how you feel. Like she is way more interesting, but she just, I don't know, like it feels a little bit too cute, too forced, too. I don't know. Don't you ever feel that way with her performance with the non-visitor? Like,
I think it's like a little bit over the top sometimes. But you know, it's better than I guess the Dax version in comparison. That's nothing.
no, absolutely. And I just think like I just wish they took their time with these episodes a bit more. I feel like they just kind of like try to get them done as quickly as possible and move on to the next because I think they just didn't really know. They didn't have a fully fleshed out universe here in the Mirror Universe.
Yeah. Well, Jeremy's pointed out that Mirror Spock would have been boring if they had focused on his character. He's still a Vulcan. Maybe, but he was still a Vulcan that used agonizers and still kind of did some nefarious like things and was willing to kill all of the Hulkins on that planet, you know, because that's what the Empire demands terror. And he clearly changed his way. But yeah, like if there had been a whole, I don't think that the Mirror Universe does work as like a recurring thing. I think it's kind of a fun gimmick thing.
Yeah.
That you can pop into, maybe you can get maybe 1 or 2 episodes out of, I think, tops with it before it becomes sort of like, well, who cares about this?
Kind of. Yeah.
Right.
I think a part of the problem is like knowing their characters on the other side, like on the regular version, the Prime universe. If they did a Star Trek show like that was just set in the Mirror Universe, I think it would be different. Like, you know, like a Terran Alliance Empire, and like this is where this show is set or this movie is set, and they don't even go to the regular Star Trek universe until like the end of the season or the end of the movie or whatever.
Like kind of what like Enterprise did with their Mirror Universe.
Exactly. Like that like is very rewatchable, and I think they kind of figured out the formula of how to do the Mirror Universe.
Yeah, and then Discovery is the other one who's done a lot of Mirror Universe.
Yeah, and I think they kind of did it well too. I think you kind of need to bring characters in the Mirror Universe in first, and then like have it be like this great big twist, or like, you know, oh, that's crazy, you know, type idea, rather than like every episode with Deep Space Nine, it's like, oh, hey, we're here. You need to come with us. You know, it's never like that. Like, imagine they did an episode of Deep Space Nine, Dave, where Kira was the intendant, but had been for like several episodes, and they had no idea. You know,
right.
Like that would have been kind of cool. You know, I think that's kind of where they missed the boat.
That would have been something different. Yeah, like what they did with Lorca on Discovery, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, I think that there's just like, it's too easy for them to get from the universes too, with like this little like this thing they just wave over the console to make, you know, to get over. Anyway,
yeah,
where do we go from here?
I don't know. I don't know. Anything else you kind of want to talk about this episode? Like for me, it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty much, you know, Sisko goes back because you know, Jake leaves with his mother, his mirror mother came over, and it was a plan to like bring Jake over as a hostage so they could use Sisko to help them out fix the Defiant. That's basically the whole premise of the episode, right?
I think if you want to do something significant with the Mirror Universe, like Jeremy's pointing out here in the comments, like he's like, they're like holodeck episodes. You can do anything, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. And maybe like the way to solve that is like a character has to die in the Mirror Universe or in a Mirror Universe story.
Yeah, like I mean, there's only been one holodeck episode that I can think of, and it's the James Bond one. This whole DS9 run, we haven't had another holodeck episode, have we?
No.
So I do feel like Deep Space Nine, he's right, that replace the holodeck episodes with these episodes. And I'd rather have probably the Mirror Universe episodes than some of these holodeck episodes that we got. Except Voyager did a lot of them well because we had a holodeck character, you know,
and because it required them to, because they're like, they have holodecks on board, and that's kind of the easiest way for a ship that's traveling through space, deep space, to sort of do something interesting without having to explain a lot. Deep Space Nine had the benefit, things can come to us. Yeah, we have the holo suites, but that's not really our like what the main thing is. The Mirror Universe, like I think it was fun for Michael Dorn to do this. I think it was interesting to see some of these space scenes, but whatever. The Terrans win, the Rebels win, the Alliance wins. I don't care. Like it's kind of whatever.
All right, all right. Let's just touch on the Worf stuff because I do think like he's enjoying getting to do this, and he's like full. He gets to go full Klingon with Worf, no holding back. He's not. Like, he's a different person. So and I do think I feel like he hams it up a bit.
Oh yeah,
Make it so.
Yeah, like it's just like his dialogue and I feel like I'm just drawn to Garrick and I'm like kind of rolling my eyes at Worf a little
no,
bit.
I'm good with both of them. I think that they were funny in this scene where he's like got him around the collar, and then they also like make Worf like be a bit sexual. He's like, "You are not my type, Garrick," and he's like, "No, I never said I was," but. And I think that because that's the other thing about mirror universe characters is they're supposed to be like a bit more like open to kind of sex with anybody or whatever. But
It would be like the, the what does he say? He says to quench the thirst of my revenge or something like that.
I don't know. Like I think Michael Dorn is just kind of got like he's just the smile on his face is enough for me in this episode. I think to really make me enjoy it in that standpoint because I'm like, okay, this version of Worf obviously wasn't raised by humans. What's he like? But he's
he's kind of like Kern.
Yeah, Garrick and Worf had sexual tension. I don't disagree.
Yeah, well, they definitely got the eyes for each other a little bit.
Because I don't think they ever did anything together after. I can't remember what happens. We'll have to revisit this the next time we come back to the mirror universe. But like, what the one that comes after this is what?
Is there one in season 5? Yeah.
Let's see. I just want to kind of. I'm just looking it up quickly to kind of see where the arc was. So we had Through the Looking Glass, and then Resurrection will be the next one. Resurrection. That's not until season
6.
6. So they won't come back to this in season 5 at all. And then so Resurrection is the one where Bareil Antos, the other Bareil, because we were all really like clamoring for the return of Bareil to the show.
They really
Mirror Bareil at that, right?
Yes.
That will be the next version of this, and then the one after this is like that season 7 one with like with the what's it called, the Emperor's New Cloak. That's where you have to steal the cloaking device and all of those things.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually don't mind that one. The Bareil one for me is
the Bareil one's the worst one. Okay,
it's not even a mirror universe episode. It's like it's like one of those where if they did the thing where it's like, what if there's a mirror universe character that's back and we don't know he's a mirror universe, or
but
he's
playing a dead guy. He was like he couldn't impersonate a dead guy. So
no, but it's like he has an ulterior motive type thing. So that's kind of what they did in that.
He's got a con.
Yeah,
the long con.
He's
like
a con.
Sawyer.
Yeah. Okay, other than that, I think we kind of have said what we needed to say about this episode, unless there's anything you would like to kind of touch on, Dave.
Just that like the whole stuff at the beginning with Odo and Quark and Jake, and they're like, Jake, don't worry, even though we never see Jake on the show, he's here every day looking down on that promenade, pining over Nog, who's off at the academy.
That actually might be my favorite scene when Odo says, "Oh, I don't care if you stand here and look longingly. It's Nog I didn't like."
Yeah. And it has nothing to do really much with the episode. Like,
no, but I mean, I enjoy watching Odo a lot because like I do like the detective nature of him, and like I want to know why he was like hating on Nog. Was it because of Quark and like Nog was up to no good for Quark and stuff, and like that's why Quark comes in and breaks this whole thing up?
Or is it racial profiling?
I don't think it's even racial profiling. I think it's just the Quark profiling. Like he knows Quark uses people to get up to his no good stuff, like his little schemes, and I think Odo just knows that, so he just likes to watch. He's like, he already knows what's going on, but he just likes to enjoy what's going on.
So he chases off Rom too.
Yeah, he seems to like chasing off Rom because it's he doesn't want I don't know. He thinks something's going on. I think with Quark and Nog, like, and probably it used to be, but now like that Jake has to remind him. Oh no, he's gonna have to be coming back with the Starfleet uniform.
And Rom's in the Bajoran militia now with Odo. They're coworkers.
Right. So he just has
Rom's an idiot. He couldn't fix a straw if it was bent.
well, he'll show you. Yeah, so that's kind of like the most interesting part for me in the episode. I was like, why is Odo racial profiling, I guess, or what is he doing? Well, what's he up to?
I don't know. They throw this scene in just I guess so that just so like Rene Bourgeois and Armin Shimmerman could do something in this episode, because both of their characters are dead in the Mirror Universe, so they have to kind of get quick little things in. Well, we haven't had Odo and Quark bicker in a while. Let's get that going.
I imagine that's why you don't have any friends. Look who's talking.
Yeah, classic.
Yeah, and he says you should go play Domjot, which is an interesting.
Play Domjot with yourself, Jake.
Play Domjot.
You lost a friend and I lost a good waiter, or whatever.
Yeah. Just when you think you can count on them, they go off and leave you. That's what That's Quark just cares about having 2 legs and a pair of arms to help him out of the bar.
But Nog would have been part of that union,
right? He would have. Yeah. I don't know. I was kind of more. I don't know. I didn't like. I think I get why they did this with Jake. It's like, connection to his mom, but like, I don't know. I still don't think they had figured out what to do for Jake yet, and they still haven't really. Is he even a writer yet? Like, have they set that up where he is a writer?
He's aspiring to be one. Yes,
other than in The Visitor when he's a writer.
Yeah, and they set it up in a little bit in season 3 when I think when he said he didn't want to go to Starfleet Academy and he wanted to become a writer, and then I think he had said he had gotten accepted to the Pennington School, but he deferred it, right?
Right.
So he's aspiring to be a writer, but he hasn't actually done anything yet, and I don't know when exactly. The episode he's going to do with Bashir, where they go like to that planet during like the war with the Klingons, I think that's coming up soon. I think that's like the first time where he's like, I'm going to write about my experiences and be like a field journalist and whatever.
I actually do enjoy those scenes, like in those moments, because like, he has something to write about at that point. I feel like he's bored on the station. He's like, what's going on? He's like, this is boring. Like as a writer, like, like there's an episode where he has a muse and the muse is like sucking his energy, but he's getting great ideas for stories and stuff.
Isn't that the next episode?
Is it the next episode?
I think it is. The next episode is The Muse.
Yeah. So there you go. So that'll be the next episode. And that makes sense that we have to kind of do this episode with Jake. And then they kind of came up with that at the same time. What else can we do with Jake? Well, he's a writer. And then let's bring in this alien. And then, it makes sense.
Because in 1996, Sirach Lofton would have been like about 18 or so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, about 18. He wasn't quite, but he was an adult at this point. So they could do more with him now.
Yeah.
Right?
And Nog's obviously older, right? Like Aaron Eisenberg was.
Oh, Aaron Eisenberg, was already like a grown up when he was playing a kid.
Right.
Like even in the first episode, because Aaron Eisenberg quite a bit older,
right?
But just could play a kid because of his like voice and stature and different things.
Yeah, and his he's wearing makeup, so that also helped him.
That also helps too. Yeah. Just. Aaron Eisenberg. How old is he? He's almost 10 years older than Jake Sirach Lofton in real life.
So when he started the show, he was like 25.
Yeah. 24 or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think
Fun facts.
I think we've said what we wanted to say about this episode. I don't have many, Dave. There's only a few.
Okay.
Although I did notice something earlier in the episode. I'll have to see if I can find it. Oh yeah, no, I do have it here. Okay. Worf says, make it so. An obvious nod to TNG, where Picard says it frequently. So
I noticed that as well. So much that I was like, I have to have that.
Make it so.
Yeah. Aaron Eisenberg, a trained martial artist, I did not know that, did all of his own stunts for this episode.
What stunts?
Yeah, like the food thing, and when he got shot. That'd be the only.
What martial arts class did they teach you how to hit a guy with a tray of food, and then?
It also wasn't that good. Like it wasn't believable. Like like
He goes,
Nog is like 4 feet tall, and he like decks a guy that's 6 feet tall. Makes no
and
sense.
then when Kira shoots him, he has to like fall back. Is that the
Yeah.
other stunt?
Yeah, that'd be the other stunt. Okay. This is the only episode in DS9's Mirror Universe arc where Cirque Lofton appears. This episode establishes that Jake was never born in the Mirror Universe.
The whole Mirror Universe is confusing, right? Like it's like, okay, so there just happens to be a Jake or like a Ben Sisko and a Jennifer Sisko in this universe, but they never had kids here, right? So some people are born and some people aren't, and some people got married and some people like. So like, I guess like what I find confusing is like, how could this even be? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it has no science fiction kind of connection at all. It's just silliness.
It is silliness, yeah. I agree with that. The Mirror Universe version of Worf makes his first appearance in this episode. Michael Dorn was originally to appear as Worf in Crossover, but he was unable to do so because he was shooting the final season of TNG at the time.
See, that would have been really cool, right? Because I think in the second time in the Through the Looking Glass, the last time we were in the Mirror Universe, I think we had the cameo by Tuvok. By Mirror Tuvok, and he's just working for the rebels, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool, just to like kind of throw him in there, and it's not even a big deal.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. I agree with that. The weapons locker from which Kira gets the phaser in the teaser is a reuse of the prop from Hard Time, which was shot directly before this episode. So David was shot before,
and it's 47, isn't it?
You can recognize the number 47 on its label. Yes, that's right.
But why would Weapons Locker 47 be in the cargo bay in one episode and on Ops in another episode? Doesn't make sense.
Mirror Universe.
No, it wasn't the Mirror Universe. It was the main one.
Oh, was it?
They just moved that locker.
They moved the locker. All right. Carlos Carrasco, who's to me a pitcher in the MLB, but okay, returns as an unnamed Klingon officer aboard the Regent ship. It is unclear if this officer is the mirror version of Degor, Carrasco's character from Deep Space Nine's episode The House of Quark.
It totally is a mirror universe of him. Why not? He sounds just like him.
Same actor. Okay. And he's playing a Klingon. This episode marks the last on-screen appearance of any incarnation of Jennifer Sisko. And, thank God for that.
Oh, but it will. Then this might be the last time we need to play this clip. JJJ. Jennifer. Damn it, we just can't leave her here.
We can't leave her here.
Yeah. Hold on. That's boop.
Damn it! We just can't leave her here!
Oh, that's some acting.
I love that.
Oh! It's just the cries.
Okay, and finally here, Nog is the third Ferengi to die in the Mirror Universe. Quark was killed by Garrick in Crossover. Rom was killed by the Intendant in Through the Looking Glass, and Nog was killed by the Intendant in this one.
Yeah, so, but who's gonna die in that other one with Bareil? Oh, isn't Bareil who dies?
Yeah,
doesn't he die in that?
I think he does.
He turns good. Anyway, all right, so let's rate this one. Skeleton Crew tonight.
And sorry, Jaemeel, but Memphis has defeated Toronto by 7 points, 98-90.
Oh, is Memphis they're playing tonight?
Yeah.
The Grizzlies?
The Grizzlies. Formerly the Vancouver Grizzlies.
Did anyone send in their ratings otherwise? I didn't see anything. No. Okay, well, Jeff, you and I are the 2 votes tonight for Shattered Mirror. What do we give it this?
Oh. I'm going to give it a 44, 4.4.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a 6.5. I think it's fine. I don't dislike it, but I don't love it either. So we're averaging at a 5.5, you and me tonight. So there you go.
I'm going to give it a 5.5, but I figured you would rate it a little higher. And to me, it's a 5.5.
That's where it deserves to be. You saying?
Yeah,
5.5. Below, like coming off like these 2 really strong episodes, at least by our rating standards. Don't ask Kevin. He thought Rules of Engagement was a 7, but the rest of us liked it. So like I don't know. It's kind of like I thought season 4 was coming into this was going to be flawless, and what I'm learning is it's kind of got its ups and downs, like or
It's hit and
kinda,
miss.
It's a little bit hit and miss.
It's either an amazing episode or like, what were they doing there? Episode.
Yeah.
That's how I like. If you look at my ratings, like I got a 2.5, a 7.5, a 9, a 4, a 9.5. You know, like it's all over the place.
It goes up and down. There's like these waves that we're riding. You know.
Yeah. And
but sometimes it's like major. Like it's like a 10. It's a 9. It's like 4.5.
They knock it out of the park, and then they throw an absolute dud. And then it's like
Crossfire 3.6. Like,
although if you ask Kevin, he likes all the episodes we don't like for the most part, except he didn't like nobody liked Crossfire except Davin.
Yeah, and A Session was not a very popular one.
Yeah, but I don't think we're gonna feel this way about season 5. I think season 5 moves. Season 5 and 6, I think both of them are going to be like episode to episode, really, really high.
And this has still been the best season so far, you know.
But, it's only gotten better too. Like season 1 and 2 are the same in a lot of ways, and now we're on to season 3. Got a little bit better, and now season 4 is even better than that. And I think you'll see season 5 be like 8.5 to 9
on average.
Yeah.
Because we've all liked this more. Well, Davin hasn't had enough votes really to go out there, but so just to look at who wrote this episode. So directed by James L. Conway, written by Ira Stephen Bear and Hans Beimler, and this came out in April 22nd, 1996. But where are we heading next?
We already did we're doing Muse. The Muse, which is it's a Jake Sisko episode, but it's actually one of the better Jake Sisko episodes, because I feel like the Muse and the whole mystery behind her. We also get Waxana Troy sighting, which that isn't always.
She's the co-writer too of this next episode.
Is she? Yeah.
Majel Barrett Roddenberry. I never knew her to be a writer on anything.
So do you feel like this episode's kind of about her? Like she was the muse for Gene Roddenberry?
Maybe. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, I forgot that she's in this next one that we got it. Not everybody loves Luxana Troy, do they?
No, she's not for everybody.
I remember Steve Shives. He wasn't big on her when he was here.
Yeah. She's not for everybody. And she is a kind of a lot of ways a horrible person. But she's very self-centered. But you know what? At the same time, everybody knows somebody like Luxana Troy. Everybody's met somebody like her. So she seems very real. Like she's not like a contrived, like, oh, that person would never exist person. She seems like a very like, oh yeah, I've met someone like this before. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So I don't think that's what Majel Barrett's like, but I do think she plays this character like she knows somebody like her or whatever, and just
really
right goes for it.
Right, that's where she shows up pregnant, and she's getting married to this guy who's like got all these weird male female like cultural traditions or something.
But isn't she like in love with Odo?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to be very high on this next one, but I will do my best. So, because I don't remember loving it, but who knows? The rewatch might turn me around.
I think I remember this episode, and I think for the most part, it's like, again, it's probably, I think we'll rate it higher than this Mirror Universe episode, but that's not saying much. I'll probably give it like a 5.5 or 6. That'd be my guess.
Michael Ansara is going to be in this next one, Jeff.
Oh, who's he playing?
He's playing that guy that Luxana Troy is married to, but he had also played the Klingon Kang in the original series.
Oh,
and he also played Kang on this show. He played on Kang in the Blood Oath episode. So he's gonna be back. I always enjoyed Michael Ansara. He was on Babylon 5. Technomage.
He played Elric.
Yeah,
in one episode.
Okay, well, we're going to wrap it up here for Shattered Mirror, and we'll be back to week to talk about the Muse. Make sure to check out all of our other content here on Live Long and Podcast, including starting next Monday night, we're going to be starting the Enterprise Rewatch podcast with Jody Simpson, Adam Woodward, and Kevin Millard, starting with Broken Bow, parts 1 and 2. So get ready. It's been a long road. That will start on Monday night at 8. D Space 9 at 9 continues on Tuesday nights, as I'm sure you know. And then on Thursdays, we often have been covering new episodes of Star Trek, different shows. We did Star Trek Lower Decks earlier this year, then Star Trek Prodigy for a few weeks. They're on hiatus right now. Right now, we're in the middle of Star Trek Discovery as they're in their 4th season. We'll be covering the 3rd episode this Thursday night, titled "Choose to Live," which looks like they're going to Navarre and the Quat Malat and all that. Plus, also check out our other content, including Star Trek Radio Theater, which we just did a new rendition on what was that, Saturday night. We did that. This was the newest one we did. It was Wedge Douche Lower Decks episode from season 2, their 9th episode. We're going to be doing Star Trek First Contact next month. In December 19th. So if you like any of that stuff, or you're just curious about it, check it out. It's a lot of fun. Star Trek Radio Theater, where we do script reads with our podcasters from the old episodes and have some fun with it. We also have our other channel, Super Mater Brothers Podcasting, that Jeff and I have, where we cover shows and movies and different things that are not related to Star Trek. We just did last night the first recap of the Beatles Get Back documentary that was out on Disney Plus, directed by Peter Jackson. So we did the part 1 on Monday night. Jeff will be doing the part 2 on this next Monday night, and then part 3 the following Monday, as that will be continuing for those 3 weeks. Plus Survivor season 41. We've been doing that for all season long. They're in the 11th episode now. We're down to the final 7. Check that out Wednesday nights at 9:30 along with Jaemeel Robinson. We also did like Big Brother earlier this year and Big Brother Canada, if you'd like to check those out. Plus Marvel podcasts, including Eternals. And the most recently and soon to be, we'll be doing Spider-Man Far From Home, or No Way Home, right? That's what it's called. Spider-Man No Way Home, as well as eventually Hawkeye when that series wraps a little bit after that. So, oh, is that the one with the elevator scene?
Yes, it is.
There you go. And Trivial Debates is our 3rd channel, where we argue about movies, TV, sports in like a game show format. We just did one this past Sunday morning with Jody Simpson hosting. It was an international affair with different competitors from different countries, Max, Dylan, and Alex. It was a lot of fun. Check that out. And we'll be doing one in December with Max due to hosting. He's going from competitor to host. Yeah, that's exciting too. So those are all our channels. Plus, check out my son's podcast, Let's Talk About Fighting Games, where you can find on Spotify or wherever you get your audio podcasts. They just they're about to do a new episode or release a new episode very soon. So if you like video games that are about fighting, check that out. And of course, Davin Skellhorn, who's often with us on Live Long and Podcast. He has his channel, Locutors of Trek, his own Star Trek channel and podcast, where he does different segments. I'm doing one on Sunday. I'm not quite sure what it is. It has something to do with Klingons, and we're doing the Gilka challenge or something. I don't know. I'm gonna get my best Klingon going on Sunday over on the Locutors of Trek. And with that, Jeff, I think we can close the book on Shattered Mirror.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dave, for all of that. And be sure to check out any of that content if you are interested in any of what Dave just listed off. Survivor, the Beatles. We got lots of it here. But for all of us here at D699ers, we will see you next week to cover the Muse. I've been Jeff Mater, joined by Dave Mater. See you next week.
You must have missed that cheery face.